Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Anna Manuel. Rain swept across our area today, majorly affecting Corning and Elmira. According to a source with the fire department, some residents had to be evacuated by boat due to flooding. Our Maggie Hall has an update for us on the impact our region is seeing.
The delay behind me that you see isn't from construction or a roadblock specifically. It's from flash flooding that has closed down the I-86. Many travelers have had their commutes delayed due to such heavy flooding that the highway had to be completely shut down. A flash flood warning has been administered for Elmira and Corning as of this time.
Here is a photo that a viewer shared with us of the portion of I-86 that has been closed down. A car can be seen with the lower half submerged and is supposedly stuck in the water. The Chemung County Sheriff's Office shared these photos on Facebook, announcing the closure of I-86. The highway was closed both ways at exit 54 towards Route 13 due to the heavy flooding. Flash floods can happen quickly, even within minutes. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, nearly half of flash flood deaths are vehicle related. Avoid any and all roads near you that are prone to flash flooding. It only takes 12 inches to float a car, and with murky floodwaters, it's hard to gauge water depth and road conditions. Stay off the roads if you can and don't take risks. Stay safe out there. That's the latest from Corning. Back to you, Ann.
All right, thanks, Maggie. Now let's go to meteorologist Alyssa Triplett with the latest on the rainfall and what we can expect moving forward. Alyssa?
We did have that quick system that slid on through the area as we stepped into this morning, allowing for that flash flooding threat into the early afternoon, where we're seeing in just a span of an hour and two totals, we're getting upwards of 2 inches across the Elmira Corning area, leading to water over roadways and those flash flooding concerns to potentially even be triggered as we're still seeing some scattered activity push its way across the region. But I'll have more details on what we're expecting here into this week coming up here in just a few minutes.
Congressman Nick Langworthy was in the Southern Tier today. The congressman addressing local business leaders from Elmira, Corning, and Watkins Glen about the work he's doing in Washington to address concerns within the local economies.
There's so many issues in front of our government right now, whether it be at the state or federal level, and we talked about both those topics today, that it's important to spend the time in the district to hear what's on everybody's mind. And visiting businesses, visiting with chambers of commerce, getting that input is so important to me. Frankly, it makes me better at my job, to be in touch with the grassroots, with the people on the ground, seeing how things are affecting our local economy.
After the lunch at Hardinge Machine Tool Company, the congressman headed for Corning Diesel to meet with more residents to talk about the local economy. Johnson City Central School District announcing the resignation of district principal who was charged with sex crimes against a student. Superintendent Eric Race assuring families through a letter that former middle school principal Daniel Erickson is no longer with the district. Erickson was arrested in early July after allegedly attempting to lure a 15-year-old student who goes to the district's high school to have sex with him. Erickson is charged with luring a child in the 3rd degree and attempted rape. The Van Etten Community Fire Department will receive federal funding. Van Etten Fire and Rescue will receive over $45,000 from FEMA's Assistance to Firefighters grants. These grants will help the department obtain emergency vehicles, necessary equipment, and help to fund training. Multiple hospitals in New York have renewed mask requirements as an uptick in COVID cases has health providers on edge. Systems such as United Health Services Hospital in several New York locations and other hospitals in Auburn and Syracuse have renewed mask requirements for patients and staff. Masks are required again at nurses' stations, conference rooms, patient registration, testing and care, and common areas. COVID hospitalizations rose 21% last week, and deaths also jumped 21%. Donald Trump's legal calendar has become a little more clear today. His election interference case in federal court has been set to begin on March 4th of next year. Special counsel Jack Smith proposed a January start date, while Trump's legal team requested a start date in 2026. In Georgia, a Fulton County judge says the former president will be arraigned on charges in that state's election case next Wednesday, September 6th. A federal mortgage lender says the national housing market could be in a standstill for a while to come. Fannie Mae economists have revised their housing market forecast and now predict the current market could be stagnant into 2024, regardless of possibly avoiding a recession. Existing home sales fell 2.2% in July, and 30-year fixed mortgage rates are at 7.23%. That's the highest rate since 2001. As a community searches for answers, police are now identifying the shooter in the racially motivated deaths of 3 innocent victims in Jacksonville, Florida. Alexandria Hoff has the latest on the tragedy from Jacksonville.
In times like these.
Just steps from the scene of the deadly Dollar General store shooting in Jacksonville, hundreds gathered Sunday to honor the victims and voice their outrage.
We cannot tolerate hate against our black community. We simply cannot and will not tolerate it.
Among the 3 people killed was Gerald Gallion, who was shot as he entered the store. He leaves behind a 4-year-old daughter.
How do you even begin to explain to her what happened?
We haven't.
You haven't?
She doesn't know yet.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
We're trying to figure out the words to tell her because she was a daddy's girl.
LaTiffany Gallion is the victim's sister.
He was a loving guy.
He
was a devoted father. He'd do anything for his daughter. And for him to get up and wake up and his life get ended, it's not fair.
Surveillance video captured 21-year-old Ryan Christopher Palmitter walking up to the store just after 1 p.m. Saturday and taking aim at his first victim in the parking lot. Authorities say he wore a face covering, latex gloves, and a bulletproof vest under his shirt. He was also armed with 2 firearms, including an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle covered with swastikas.
When you see him walk out on the sidewalk and he points that gun at that car, he fired 11 rounds at that car. He did not give any warning. He just did it.
Authorities say during the shooting, the gunman, who lived with his parents, texted his father and told him to break into his bedroom. There, his father found a suicide note, a will, and writings Jacksonville Sheriff T.K. Waters described as racist.
The manifesto is quite frankly, the diary of a madman. He was just completely irrational.
Before the shooting, authorities say the gunman was spotted at Edward Waters University. That's less than a mile from the store here. He was spotted by a security guard who thought he looked suspicious. That guard alerted a nearby deputy, and that deputy was just about to alert others when the shooting happened. Manuel Bojorquez, CBS News, Jacksonville.
Still ahead, we have your complete forecast. Plus, people across the country are stepping up to help victims of the devastating wildfires in Maui. But authorities are warning about potential fraudulent activity around donations. How to make sure your donations are going to the right place. That's coming up.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Good evening. The month of August has been a bit on the active side, and we just have a few more days left of this month. Now, the past 5 days, the accumulation there about 3/4 of an inch, with majority of that coming last Friday. But today, those numbers added up quickly with just a small system that was very powerful in its rich values and slow moving, allowing for even anywhere from 1 inch to 2 inches of accumulation within a 2 to 3 hour span that led to that flash flooding. And then there was even some sporadic activity following behind that was continuing to bring some of those flooding concerns. Now, we are watching that system is working its way out. We'll get those official totals from across the area, as it was very localized. Really, the definition of flash flooding occurred with that water over roadway, which was closing down even sections of roads, and others had to find alternate routes because you do not want to drive through that water over roadways. You don't know what is underneath that water and what has been potentially washed away. So always good news to remember to never drive drive through a flooded roadway. Now, as mentioned, we are clearing out, but with some clearing and calming, note that there is going to be the potential of some fog development, especially with still sitting in a pretty rich environment. There is a little bit of some drier air now feeding in. We got our moisture push here earlier today, but we'll still mention some hit or miss showers, maybe even some isolated thunder that will run through at least Wednesday morning with our final cold front. We've been battling a few of these cold front passages, keeping temperatures more fall-like, keeping us under wet weather. But the good news is that for the holiday weekend, we are expecting some mild and bright conditions. Now, first off, this is what we're seeing. Right now, we have a low that is working its way up the East Coast. That was what was sending moisture into our area, that warm front that is now hugging those East Coastal areas closer to New York. Now, what we'll note is that we have this low pressure system that will be edging its way across the Great Lakes and heading towards the Elmira Corning area as we head into Wednesday morning. But with us between these two systems, we'll at least see that there are some chances for some isolated activity. We even see here Tuesday morning, there's a few of those showers there just through the local area. A lot of the emphasis is going to be farther off towards, again, the south and the east, but again, can't rule out a hit or miss shower, maybe even a thunderstorm there coming into the evening hours. And then here's your cold front into Wednesday morning. Again, most of the majority of the moisture off towards the southeast, but still some showers clipping our area and watching that cold front slide through that will finally kick out that moisture. But it would leave at least some hit or miss chances on the board. We are keeping accumulation there, at least about a tenth of an inch up to about a quarter of an inch. Some higher numbers there off towards the southeast, where again, that moisture looks to be a bit richer, closer to that low that is going to be working its way up the east coastal features. Now, as we will see that we have a little bit of southerly push into our Tuesday, it does keep temperatures seasonable, but we'll battle the passing cloud cover, shower and thunderstorm chance. And then with a cold front passage into Wednesday, temperatures will cool into those lower 70s. So more fall-like, a little breezy, but we'll make some rebounds with some sunshine into the weekend.